With the new and recent changes to all flails in Terraria, I've decided to revisit a challenge I've done in the past. Can I beat Terraria using flails only? How will these changes affect the progression of the game, and will I be able to defeat the final boss Moonlord? Stay tuned to find out. Alright, let's get started. So there's only 2 flails to obtain in pre-hard mode. The mace that can be found in the jungle, and the ball o' hurt from the shadow orbs in the corruption. I decided to try and get the ball o' hurt first because it has a much higher damage, and honestly I felt it was much easier to get, so after chopping down some trees for wood and exploring caves to find bombs, I went to the corruption and blew up some shadow orbs. After destroying 2 orbs, I got the musket and the shadow orb light pads. I really needed a weapon, so I destroyed 1 more orb, but ended up getting the band of star power. The Eater of Worlds spawned, so I ended up having to teleport away. Before going back to break some more orbs, I did a bit of mining and exploring for some bombs and other materials. I returned back to the corruption and broke another 3 orbs. The first orb gave me the File Thorn, the second orb gave another shadow orb pet, and the third one finally gave me the ball o' hurt. This weapon has 31 melee damage, which is quite high for a weapon that can be easily obtained. The Eater of Worlds spawned again, but having only 120 health, I had to flee. Now having a weapon, I'll be able to start killing some monsters. I went to the jungle afterwards since it's a really good place to find life crystals and accessories. I found the sharpening station that increases armor penetration of all melee weapons by 12. I also found the band of regeneration and cloud in a bottle. I was about to open the dead man's chest and I thought I destroyed all the dynamite, but apparently not. After respawning, I crafted the platinum pickaxe, some armor, and the diamond hook. I returned back to the jungle to find some life crystals to increase my health before I take on a boss. After raising my health to 320, I built a platform and then summoned the Eye of Cthulhu as my first boss to fight. After defeating the Eye of Cthulhu, I went back to the jungle to find Hermes boots and the remaining life crystals to reach max health. I then crafted the full platinum armor. Now that I'm a bit tankier, I broke shadow orbs to summon the Eater of Worlds. With the ball o' hurt and a hook to stay in place without getting knocked back, I was just able to swing my flail around while tanking hits. After defeating the Eater of Worlds, I crafted the Nightmare Pickaxe and the Shadow Armor. I drank a Gravitation Potion and found some Sky Islands. I was able to get my hands on the Lucky Horseshoe and the Shiny Red Balloon. The next boss I'll be taking on is Skeletron. I waited until nighttime to then summon it. After defeating Skeletron, I made my way down the dungeon and found the Cobalt Shield and the Shadow Key. This key will be used later on in Hell to obtain my next weapon to fight the Wall of Flesh with. Soon after, I found the Blue Moon, a flail that has 54 damage. I didn't get to use it much since it got replaced as soon as I reached Hell and opened a Shadow Chest. Inside the Shadow Chest, I got my hands on the Sun Fury that had the Godly modifier on it. This weapon has a massive 74 damage and is able to set enemies on fire. I then mined some hellstone to craft the molten armor that gave me more defense and more melee damage. With this armor equipped, it raised my Sun Fury damage from 74 to 86. I built some NPC houses and returned to Hell to build a bridge to fight the Wall of Flesh on. I wasn't going to fight the boss just yet. I wanted to find the Goblin Tinkerer to combine some of my accessories first, but the Goblin army never invaded, so I had to farm tattered cloth to summon them manually. After defeating the Goblin army and finding the Tinkerer, I purchased the rocket boots and workshop from him. After combining some accessories together, I then summoned the Wall of Flesh. After defeating the Wall of Flesh and entering hard mode, I broke some demon altars to spawn in some palladium, mithril, and adamantite. After mining these ores and collecting enough adamantite, I crafted the adamantite armor set. Now it's time to get a weapon more suited for hard mode. The next weapon that I'll be getting is the Dao of Pow. This weapon is made from combining a light shard and dark shard with some souls of light and night. I looked at the desert, but seeing that it wasn't infected with the corruption or hollowed, I had to create the two biomes manually. I mined some evanstone and pearlstone to then place them in the desert. I had to wait for the blocks to spread throughout the desert, but after waiting, I now have both biomes to get the shards. These shards can be dropped by light and dark mummies with a 10% drop rate. I only had to kill a few dark mummies until I got the dark shard. When I was farming for the light shard, there was a message saying that it was going to be a terrible night, which meant that the twins were about to spawn. I really wasn't sure what I was thinking at the time, but I thought I was going to be able to kill them with the Sun Fury, but there was no way. There was only a quarter of the time left until morning, and I haven't even defeated one of the twins, so I just let them kill me. I went back to the hollowed desert to kill light mummies until I got the light shard. After getting both shards, I farmed some souls of light and night. I returned back home to then make the Dao of Pow. This weapon has 139 damage and has a chance to confuse enemies on hit. Afterwards, I went to a sky island to kill wyverns for souls of light to then craft demon wings. When the next night arrived, I summoned the Destroyer. This weapon was able to deal 1000 damage per swing depending on the angle I hit the boss and if I was able to crit. After defeating the Destroyer, I summoned Skeletron Prime. After defeating Skeletron Prime, I then summoned the last mechanical boss, the twins. Now I was going to try something different this time. Rather than just flying around hitting it, I built a flat platform with some honey. There will be times when the twins will be stationary to shoot projectiles at you, but this is the perfect opportunity to let my weapon stay in one spot to deal constant damage. This tactic will also work when Phantasm reaches second phase. Since there's a wall between you and the boss, it will stop spewing out cursed flames. This will also work against the Retinazer, but it won't be as effective since the boss will hover on top, shooting lasers down below. After all mechanical bosses were defeated, I made the pickaxe axe and went down to the jungle to mine some chlorophyte. While mining, I found the Plantera bulb, so I used some dynamite to blow up an area for an arena. So just like the twins boss fight, I'll be using the same tactic against Plantera. I built the letter U. This is where I'll be focusing my attacks for the first phase of the fight. The plan is to leave my weapon in the slot of the U and then just fly around dodging the attacks. I definitely could have prevented the boss from shooting the petals at me if I built the U a bit thicker, but it wasn't as thick as I thought it was. After everything was ready, I broke the bulb and began the fight. After opening the treasure bag, I got the next weapon, the Flower Pow. What makes this weapon so good is because it's able to shoot out projectiles for hitting enemies at a safer distance. With this weapon, I'll now be able to take on Duke Fishron. I made my way to the ocean, built an arena, and then summoned the boss. After defeating the boss, I opened the treasure bag and got super lucky. I received the Flail that's able to shoot out homing bubbles and Duke Fishron's wings. I made my way back into the jungle and into the temple to then summon Golem. After defeating Golem, I farmed enough turtle shells to craft turtle armor, and with the beetle shells from Golem, I crafted the beetle armor. The next boss is the lunatic cultist. But as I was making my way to the dungeon, I ran into a Martian probe. I tried destroying it, but I failed to, so the Martians invaded. I still continued onwards to the dungeon to fight the boss, but afterwards I'd have to deal with the Martians. There wasn't anything for me to gain from the event except the UFO mount, but with Duke Fishron's wings, it's definitely not needed. After defeating the lunatic cultist, I destroyed the solar pillar to get my final weapon, the solar eruption. After crafting the weapon, I dealt with the invasion. I destroyed some saucers and ended up receiving the UFO mount. I guess I'll take it since I could use it to dodge Moonlord's laser beams a bit better, but it won't be game changing. After defeating the Martian invasion, I destroyed the remaining pillars, the Stardust pillar, Vortex pillar, and then lastly the Nebula pillar. And now it is time to take on the final boss, Moonlord. Alright, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. My final thoughts on changes towards flails. I have to say there wasn't really any significant changes, so I didn't really notice a huge difference. But for sure, flails did get buffed because they're now able to hit 4 times when you're swinging it around, and flails that already hit 4 times before the update can now hit up to 5 times. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed watching, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and also subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.